So over the past couple of days, there's actually been a lot of news around Taylor Hall and the New Jersey Devils. A report came out a couple of days ago by Sportsnet that they are unlikely to reach an agreement on a contract extension. So it is looking like, unless he is traded at the deadline or something, Taylor Hall could be an unrestricted free agent this summer. And we thought the bidding for Panarin was crazy. I can't wait to see what it will be like for Taylor Hall, because in my opinion, I think Hall is the better player. That's just me, but obviously I think they could potentially get similar contracts, and we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But in today's video, I'm going to rank all the NHL teams on their probability of landing Taylor Hall. So I have the tiers in favorites, so those are the favorites to land him. The maybe teams, probably not, and really just can't see it happening. So those are more so for the rebuilding teams that probably don't want to trade for a guy like that. But it all comes down to, what is New Jersey going to do? Because we saw what happened with the New York Islanders. They kind of gambled. They didn't move Tavares at the deadline, and then they didn't get nothing in return for their superstar player. So I feel like New Jersey may be looking at that if they think Taylor Hall has the potential to leave in the summer, and I think there is a strong possibility that he could. The New Jersey definitely should trade Taylor Hall and try to get some draft picks and young assets back, because you already have a good foundation there. Guys like Jesper Boqvist, obviously Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier. You have a good young team. And I just really don't think they want to lose him for nothing. So I think they want to get something back. So this is going to be a difficult video because I'm not quite sure if he's going to be a free agent or if he's going to be traded for. But let's just jump right into it with the Anaheim Ducks. And Anaheim, I'm going to put them at probably not. They're a team that I feel like should kind of just let the youth take over. You know, Ryan Getzlaf is up there in age. Obviously, they waived Corey Perry, and now he's a member of Dallas. I feel like it's kind of a new era there, and that they should just let guys like Maxime Comtois, Sam Steele, and Max Jones really just kind of develop and eventually be the future offensive guys of this team, along with players that are already pretty solid with Rickard Rakell and Andre Kase. And I'm just not quite sure what they would give up in a trade for Taylor Hall. And yeah, I'm going to put them at probably not. But I feel like it might be an intriguing place to play. I mean, the weather in Anaheim's obviously really nice, so I don't know. But I'm going to put them there for now. The Arizona Coyotes, I'm just going to put them down at can't see it. They already got an elite winger in Phil Kessel this past summer, and I'm not quite sure how intriguing of a place Arizona would be in terms of Taylor Hall being like, oh, I want to go sign there. So I'm going to put them down. I can't see it. Same goes for the Boston Bruins. They already have elite wingers, Brad Marchand, David Pastrnak, and young guys like Jake DeBrusk. I really can't see them giving up any of their young assets to bring in Taylor Hall, and if he is a free agent, I just really don't think they have the money for it. Next up, we have the Buffalo Sabres, and this is a difficult one. I'm going to put them at probably not. I feel like they want to be safe with their cap space because they're going to have to give Dahlin a lot of money when he is an RFA, but if they trade for him, then maybe they could make the money work somehow, but I'm just not quite sure. Buffalo's off to a good start to the season, and I feel like they won't really want to mess with anything, so I'm going to put them there. Next up, we have the Calgary Flames. Now, I read an article by Sportsnet. It was 8 teams that Taylor Hall could most likely be playing for next year, and Calgary was in that video, and reading it over, I think it is a real possibility. I'm going to put them at maybe. Now, they don't have a lot of cap space to throw around, so I feel like it would have to be via a trade if they do want to bring him in, and they'd probably have to give up some really good young players, you know, a defensive prospect, maybe Mangiapane as well, and then a guy like TJ Brody, who is an eventually expiring contract, and you know, just to make the money work a little bit. But I'm not quite sure what that trade could potentially look like, but they definitely could use another top 6 winger, and Taylor Hall would be the perfect fit there. The Carolina Hurricanes, I'm going to put them down at can't see it. I feel like they already made a lot of their moves this past summer, you know, bringing in Jake Gardner, trading away Justin Falk, signing Dzingel, trading for Hala, and they're off to a good start to the season. So I feel like they wouldn't really want to mess with anything, and I'm just not quite sure if they would want to give up any of their young assets to bring in a guy like Taylor Hall, and they're yet another team that doesn't have a lot of money if he is a UFA. Next up, we have the Chicago Blackhawks. I'm going to put the Hawks at probably not. I'm not going to put them down here, because Chicago definitely could pull off some type of trade. I mean, they do have some intriguing assets there, but if you bring in Taylor Hall, you don't just want it as a rental. You're most likely going to want to have him re-sign, and it's kind of like a sign and trade, what we saw with Mark Stone and the Vegas Golden Knights, and they'd probably have to give him $10 million plus, and then you'd have so much money tied up in Kane, Taves, and obviously Taylor Hall. I can't really see it happening, so I'm going to put them in probably not. Now, the Colorado Avalanche, I'm actually going to put them up as the favorites. They were another team that was in that Sportsnet article, and reading it over, it really convinced me that maybe this could actually happen. Now, Colorado is a team that has been very smart with their cap space. They're eventually going to have to re-sign Grubauer as a UFA, Gabe Landeskog, and give Cale Makar a lot of money as a restricted free agent. So I feel like, again, it would kind of have to be in a trade, and they would have to unload some money. I'm not quite sure what that trade could look like. Maybe a guy like Bowen Byram, who I'm sure would be very, very intriguing for New Jersey, and then a guy like Tyson Jost, who could use a fresh start. So again, I'm not quite sure what that trade could look like, but I feel like Colorado could make it happen, and that would be an amazing fit for Taylor Hall, especially if he wants to win. Next up, we have Columbus. I'm going to put them at probably not. They have a lot of cap space, so if he does become a UFA, they could throw a ton of money at him. But I feel like if Taylor Hall is going to leave New Jersey, it's going to be because he wants to win games. And going to Columbus, I'm not quite sure how many games you're going to win. I mean, Hall's only won one playoff game in his entire career. I really don't think he wants to risk going to another team that could be a couple more years before they're good again. So I can't see him going to Columbus. Next up, we have Dallas. I'm going to put them at can't see it. I feel like they already made their big move in signing Joe Pavelski to a big contract, and they have a lot of money tied up in Ben and Tyler Seguin. So it'd most likely have to be through a trade, but I'm just not quite sure how many intriguing assets they have to give up to bring in a guy like Taylor Hall. Next up, we have my Red Wings. I'm going to put them at can't see it. We wouldn't have enough money probably if he is an unrestricted free agent, and Steve Yzerman anyways, he's rebuilding this team, and I feel like he's not the type of guy that just wants to sign a big superstar to kind of speed up that process, because I feel like he just wants to do it through the draft and through the players that they already have. And again, Taylor Hall probably wouldn't want to go to Detroit anyways if he wants to win games. Next up, we have Edmonton, and this is one that's been thrown around a lot. I'm going to put them at maybe because this definitely would be very intriguing. I feel like, again, it would have to be through a trade because I'm not quite sure how much money they're going to have this summer to just throw at Taylor Hall, because I think he will be like asking for $10 million plus. Yeah, they definitely do have some good young players, you know, guys like Evan Bouchard, obviously Kyler Yamamoto. They have some intriguing young pieces that maybe New Jersey would be interested in. It'd be weird, however, they make the money work, but I think Taylor Hall would be an amazing fit in Edmonton, and it would definitely be pretty fun to watch. Next up, we have Florida. I'm going to put them down at can't see it. Now, they just signed Bobrovsky to a massive contract. They don't have a lot of cap space, and I feel like they already have a lot of really good wingers in their top six, and there just isn't really a fit there for Taylor Hall. Next up, we have the LA Kings, and for the same reason as teams like Detroit, I just don't really see why LA would do this or why Taylor Hall would want to go play for the Los Angeles Kings. The Kings are a team that should be focusing on bulking up on young assets and draft picks, and if you trade for Taylor Hall, you're going to have to give up a lot of young assets and draft picks, and he's not going to want to sign there as a free agent anyway, so I can't really see that happening. Same goes for the Minnesota Wild, exact same reasoning as the Red Wings and Kings. They don't really have the young assets to give up, and Taylor Hall is not going to want to sign with a team that's towards the bottom of the league, at least in my opinion, if he does hit the open market. Next up, we have the Montreal Canadiens, and Montreal I'm actually going to put at maybe. I feel like Taylor Hall would be an amazing fit there, and I feel like Montreal would definitely be a pretty intriguing place to play. You have good young players like Max Domi, Jonathan Drouin, Jesperi Kotkaniemi, and then you obviously have guys like Nick Suzuki and Ryan Poehling as well, and they definitely have a good core of veterans around them. I feel like Taylor Hall could be the piece that pushes them over the edge, but I'm just not quite sure how Montreal would bring him in, whether it's a trade or whether it's a free agent signing. Next up, we have Nashville. I can't see it happening. They just signed Yossi to that huge contract. They obviously just brought in a big name free agent last summer in Matt Duchene. I can't see them really even wanting to make a pursuit of Taylor Hall just because they really don't have the money for it, even if it is in a trade. Next up, we have the New Jersey Devils, and I'm actually going to put them up there as favorites. Now, obviously, if they do decide to trade him, then I'm kind of looking stupid here, but I feel like if he does make it to the summer as a free agent, then there is a strong possibility maybe he could just re-sign in New Jersey for a huge contract. They have a good foundation with guys like Hughes, Boakfist, and obviously Nico Hischier, but if this season continues to slide, then that definitely could leave a bad taste in Taylor Hall's mouth, and maybe he doesn't want to go back to New Jersey at all. Moving on to the New York Islanders, I'm going to put them in maybe. They were in the running for Artemi Panarin a little bit before ultimately kind of fading out towards the end, but they definitely could make this work. I feel like it would probably most likely happen in a trade, and I feel like Taylor Hall would be a very good fit there, and they do got some pretty good assets that I feel like New Jersey would be interested in. Guys like Noah Dobson, Oliver Wahlstrom, and I think Taylor Hall would be a great fit and put them like over the edge in terms of making them a legit Stanley Cup contender. Next up, we have the New York Rangers. I'm going to put them in can't see it. They already made their big splash in bringing in Artemi Panarin. They don't really have the assets to trade away, and I just feel like they're not interested because, again, they already have Panarin. The Ottawa Senators, same reason as I don't think he'll go to Detroit, LA, or Minnesota. They are one of the worst teams in the NHL, and Taylor Hall wants to win. I feel like that'll be the biggest reason why if he does leave New Jersey, and he definitely wouldn't go to Ottawa if he wants to win. The Philadelphia Flyers, I'm going to put them in probably not. They already have a lot of guys signed to long-term contracts, obviously signed Kevin Hayes to that really big deal. They don't really have the money for it, and I feel like they already have decent top six wingers, and they just don't really have room for Taylor Hall or the assets to trade away to bring him in anyways. Now, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and this was a very intriguing one to me. I'm actually going to put it in maybe because if he does become a UFA, Pittsburgh is going to have a decent amount of money. You have guys like Justin Schultz coming off the books, Alex Galchenyuk, and Jack Johnson's big contract. If you could potentially move that somewhere, that would free up a lot of cap space, and Pittsburgh would definitely be an intriguing spot to go, especially if Taylor Hall wants to win games. Now, if he is traded at the deadline, I'm not quite sure how involved Pittsburgh would be, because what really would they give New Jersey in that move? But yeah, it'd definitely going to be interesting, because I feel like Taylor Hall would love to go play with arguably the best player in the world. Moving on now to the San Jose Sharks, another team I'm actually going to put in maybe, because I just don't really know, because they have so much money tied up in Brent Burns and Erik Karlsson. They would most likely have to trade away a guy who makes a lot of money just to make it work, and if he becomes an unrestricted free agent, they're just not going to have that much money to throw at him. So if he does go to San Jose, I think it would have to be in a trade, and I think he'd fit well there. They definitely could use another top 6 winger, and yeah, but San Jose is another team that's not off to a good start at all, and they're looking like they might be a lottery team. So how much is Taylor Hall going to want to go there? I'm not quite sure. So San Jose is kind of iffy for me. Next up, we have the St. Louis Blues. I'm going to put them in probably not. I feel like they already made a lot of their moves, you know, re-signing Alex Pietrangelo. They brought in Justin Falk, and they got a really good thing going there. It seems like this team has fantastic chemistry, and they are potentially a Stanley Cup favorite again and could go back-to-back. So I don't think they're going to mess with anything. I'm going to put them at probably not. Tampa Bay, I can't see it happening. They just have so much money tied up in a lot of their big guys, and if they do make a trade to bring in Taylor Hall, they're definitely going to have to trade away one of their best players, and I just really can't see that happening. Same goes for the Toronto Maple Leafs, exact same reasoning, as I can't see him going to Tampa Bay. Moving on now to the Vancouver Canucks, I'm going to put them at maybe. If it's trade, I'm not quite sure what they would give New Jersey, because they're not going to trade Horvat, Pettersson, Hughes, Brock Besser, any of those guys. Maybe Vasily Podkolzin, their 10th overall pick in this previous draft, but how appealing would that be to the Devils? I feel like if he does end up becoming a Canuck, it will be through free agency and Vancouver making a couple of moves to free up some money. The Vegas Golden Knights, I can't see it happening. They already made, I feel like, a lot of their big moves. You know, they have Pacioretty, they have Mark Stone, they have great top 6 wingers, so I don't think they're going to mess with anything. I don't think they're going to be in the running for Taylor Hall whatsoever. The Washington Capitals, I'm going to put them at probably not, because, again, I just don't really know what they would trade away to bring in a guy the caliber of Taylor Hall, and it's not like they have a ridiculous amount of money to throw around if he hits free agency as well. And now finishing out the video with the Winnipeg Jets, I'm going to put them down at can't see it. You know, they already struggled enough keeping Kyle Connor and Patrick Laine. They're not going to put themselves in a bigger hole in terms of the cap bringing in a guy like Taylor Hall. And again, they have great top 6 wingers. I don't really think there's room for him. So that is going to do it for this video. I only have 2 teams up in the favorites. I guess San Jose and Vancouver and Edmonton you could put up there, but I just really feel like it'll come down between Colorado and New Jersey. Obviously, it's really hard to predict where a player's going to go, especially if it is in a trade, so I'm most likely going to be wrong. But make sure to let me know down in the comment section below, where do you think Taylor Hall is going to go? Is he going to stay in New Jersey? Is he going to be traded at the deadline, or are we just going to see a bidding war similar to what we saw with Panarin last summer? So that is going to wrap up today's video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure to let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, especially if you're a Devils fan. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts from a Devils fan's perspective. And with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, please make sure to drop a like on it and subscribe to the channel for daily NHL content, and I will see you guys all in the next video.